What's up, Internet? Kevin here with Tech Fest Lunch and Dinner, bringing you a review of Dead Island for the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. Now, the game puts you in the shoes of one of four characters that are trying to survive on this zombie-infested island. Each character works a little differently and has their own little strengths and weaknesses. There's Sam B, who is a rapper that basically focuses on being a tank and uses a lot of blunt weapons. Xian, who uses bladed weapons as well as focuses on being high damage output. Logan, who can use all weapons pretty well and also excels at throwing them, so he's kind of like the well-balanced character. And then there's Perna, who focuses on guns but can also boost everyone's stats, so she kind of acts as like a team leader role. Now, all characters have the exact same skill trees, at least in name, combat, survival, and fury, but they each have specific different nodes based on that character. So two characters who are different but focus on the same combat tree are going to end up having different focuses and abilities. Perna will get faster reload times, bullet penetration, better gun damage, whereas someone like say Sam B is going to get better blunt weapon damage and the ability to do things like takedowns. Now, the game is built around playing co-op with these different characters. It is possible to actually have co-op games where everyone's playing the same character, but it is definitely a little more fun and interesting to have everyone play someone different. The drop-in and drop-out co-op gameplay is actually really well done for an online game. However, I still find that, as with most cooperative games, it is still a lot more fun to play with your friends rather than just random people online. You tend to just be able to kind of strategize, work together a lot more, and kind of focus on a single goal. Not to mention, you can all intentionally pick different characters in order to kind of balance each other out. Now, the game uses a first-person view for combat, which is interesting since it places such a larger emphasis on melee weapons. But it does use this to its advantage. For instance, alongside swinging weapons, you can also aim and throw them at enemies as ranged weapons. You can use a kick ability to knock enemies down, put them on the ground, and make them a lot easier just to hack away at on the ground. You can also do special things, for instance, aim at a limb repeatedly. So, for instance, if you're using a slashing weapon and hit at the same arm a lot, you'll end up cutting it off entirely, making an enemy a much easier target to hit. Now, alongside melee weapons, which range from some more mundane items like baseball bats, crowbars, kitchen knives, the game also does feature guns, but they play a much less prominent role. They do come up a lot more later in the game, but ammo for them is still very sparse compared to a baseball bat, which you can just swing until it breaks. Guns are awesome when you have them. I mean, it's a ranged weapon with a high firing speed that can take enemies out. It's just that with how rare ammo is, you kind of want to save it for the times that you really need it. Now, the other thing is that while the game does use an FPS-style interface for using guns, it still acts more like an RPG. So, for instance, headshots aren't instant kills, they're just higher damage. So if you're against a particularly tough zombie, it could still take 10 or 12 headshots to take them out if your gun's not very powerful. Now, the flow of the game uses a semi-open world for players to explore while also engaging in a number of missions to complete in order to not only get quest experience, but also to advance the main plot. Players are free to roam the island as they wish if they just want to explore around, pick up random items, kill zombies for loot and experience. One of the cool things you can do is that while picking up a lot of junk loot, things like circular blades, wires, batteries, you can use these items to modify your weapons to gain special properties. For instance, one of the weapons I was able to make was a baseball bat with a buzzsaw attached to the middle of it, which was awesome. I was also able to make a gun that had electric bullets, so I could also shock enemies at times, which dealt a lot more damage. Not to mention making them paralyzed for a while. Now, one of the downsides to this is that weapons also take durability damage, and over time you need to repair them. It's kind of one of the odd parts of the game because you have to pay money to repair a weapon at a workbench, even though you're the one doing the repairs. It's a little awkward, but it's basically the game's only way of really keeping track of some kind of commodity you have to use up to keep your weapons repaired. One of the other kind of interesting aspects of the game is the way health works. Dying isn't too big of a deal. You just instantly respawn not too far away from where you were before. You just lose a chunk of money, which you mostly use to repair items or buy stuff from vendors. What's kind of funny about it, though, is that the main way of recovering life, aside from medkits, is by constantly drinking energy drinks or picking up snack bars. They're littered everywhere around town, and you just instantly eat them and gain life when you see them. So if you're low on health and you see like a 12-pack of energy drinks, you just down all of them to recover your life, which is really unhealthy when you think about it, and kind of weird. One of the other kind of awkward aspects of the game too was the exploration system. Getting from point A to point B can take a while in some cases. The game does have fast travel points, but you can only fast travel to and from them while you're at one. So you can't be in the middle of nowhere and want to get back to the main base. You have to walk all the way to your nearest node and go to the next one. It does amp up the feeling of survival, but in some cases it can just feel really monotonous when you're running back and forth just to help complete certain quests. The game does also have cars, which you can use to travel main roads and run over zombies. They show up a lot more earlier on in the game. You do find them later, but they just don't come up as often, which is kind of weird. Now overall, Dead Island does make for a fun multiplayer experience, but as a single player game, it basically falls flat. What little storyline the game has honestly just isn't that interesting, and half the time it feels like they're trying to have more emotion than they really do. It was kind of a letdown, really, because the initial trailer they showed off for Dead Island made it look like this really kind of emotional, holy crap, zombies and, people's lives are ruined kind of thing. Doesn't really come across in the game. It's mostly just, let's hack up zombies and complete mission objectives. That being said, it is a great multiplayer experience. If you've got friends that also want to play the game, definitely pick it up and play in multiplayer. But if you're just looking for something to play as a single-player adventure, there are other things to get right now. A lot more games coming out this holiday season, so might as well wait for one of those. Well, that's our review of Dead Island for the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. Stay tuned later this week when I give you guys my full review of Gears of War 3 for the Xbox 360. Till then, I'm Kevin for TLD. Thanks for watching.